Mum is doing an upholstery course at TAFE, and today we are going to show you what you do in the first year. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye!
So it's a good little project to start with. You have to be able to cover the bottom of the stool as well as the top. What we learned doing these projects, we learned all about straining directions, and we also learned about gluing foam to board, and also learning how to pinch foam and make it a shape that you like. We also learned about relief cuts, particularly around corners. Because of going around round shapes, it is difficult to, you've got to get the wrinkles out of your fabric. The other thing that we learned as well was how to center fabric. So you had to pick a bit of fabric that had a pattern and then make sure it was centered. One of these stools had to have continuous studding, which is just around the side here. So that's actually covering up the staples. The other stool, you had to use GIMP scroll. And again, that covers up the staples. Okay, and then you're also shown how to finish it off as well. So this is the second project at TAFE that you do. It's a toolkit or a pencil case. This is your introduction to upholstery sewing. So this consists of 4 vinyl pieces plus a zipper, and then you've also got some reinforced tape inside for the zipper. This was all done using the industrial sewing machines. So you learn how to insert a zipper using a zipper foot. And the stitches that you learn about are backsewn seams, holding stitches, top stitch, and back stitch. So our third project at TAFE was this ottoman. We used many materials, and that included a timber frame, which was provided by the TAFE carpentry students, webbing elastic, multiple foams, edge roll or P-piping, Velcro, fabric, calico, a zipper, staples. The only thing we had to purchase for the project were the feet, which I got off Amazon. The skills that we learnt included how to check your frame before starting the project, make sure it's a sturdy one, how to create a cutting plan so you're not wasting fabric, using an overlocker, sewing onto foam, and softening timber edges. Here's project number 4, a child's chair. The techniques used here can be applied to an adult-sized chair as well. The materials used included a timber frame, again provided by the carpentry students at TAFE, webbing, edge roll, P-piping, several foams, ply grip, calico, fabric, cardboard strips, piping cord, and staples. One thing we learnt was how to use a tool called a snip to mould the ply grip for finishing off the chair at the back. And the ply grip is actually here on both sides of the chair. We had to submit a cutting plan to make sure that we're using all of our fabric wisely. Some people at TAFE chose to pattern match their fabric for this project, but I chose not to. I was happy just to cut the fabric myself and see where it landed. So I did a rough pattern match, but I didn't do an exact pattern match. Pattern matching you need to be able to do in second year TAFE. We also learn again about relief cuts and using those relief cuts to shape around the chair joinery, particularly in this area here. The other thing that we did learn with sewing was using piping cord and then applying it to fabric and then applying it to furniture as well. So this was project number 5. It is a seat base in vinyl or leather. This one's leather, and it's got a piped cap-on cover. So this comes over the top and then you staple it underneath. This is what it looks like finished at the bottom with staples and calico. I've got pink piping on the side, white top. The skills that we learned for this seat project include smoothing out the timber edges again. We learned how to drill holes in the board to release air after it's been sat on. We also learned how to skive the edges of the vinyl. Okay, you can't actually see, but inside, we've actually skived inside. And that was so then we could finish off the vinyl piping, the leather piping. We also had to make sure that our stitch line also lined up where the piping finished as well. The other thing which I didn't mention when we made the toolkit, the trick with vinyl and leather is that you can't unpick and reuse that material, because when you sew, you create holes, and with the vinyl and leather, the holes show up, and there is no way to get rid of the holes once they're there. So there were a few redos of this project.
Project 6 was a little more challenging. It was an introduction to working with scroll arm furniture. We needed to work with fabric as well as vinyl or leather to learn how to manipulate both types of fabrics on a scroll arm. The internal finishing techniques focused on slip stitch and using cross trim as well as ply grip. The external finishings included learning how to do pleats, using gimp scroll, using continuous studding as well as single studding, and learning how to do and apply double piping.
Next is the twin needle double-sided cushion. This is nothing that you will actually see being made in the industry at all. This was just purely to gain TAFE skills. So even though there are twin needle sewing machines around, in this project you needed to demonstrate that you could sew on a twin stitch on a single stitch machine using 2 different fabric types. So here you can see I have sewn on both sides, okay, and that it is level, so replicating a twin needle sewing machine. And again, I've done the same on the other side using material fabric and just demonstrating that, you know, for the most part, I can sew relatively evenly on both sides using a single stitch machine. For this project, you needed particle board, vinyl, or leather and other material fabric for the other side. You also needed piping, and then you also need reinforced tape. And the reinforced tape is just to help create this depression, which you can see here on the vinyl side. The idea of the double piping is that you're not meant to see the stitching inside, and unfortunately in parts on this project you can see stitching, whereas in other parts you can't. The other trick was with this double piping as well was to be able to join it. Unfortunately, my fabric has frayed. There was a nice finish to it. That's something you improve with over time with your upholstery skills. The piping is also joined onto this with hot glue. This is a no sag drop-in seat. New tools and materials were used. This included a no-sag spring cutter and no-sag spring end sealer, the no-sag springs and bolt cutters, as well as some EK clips and some string. So we used all of these products in addition to foam, calico and staples. So this was a great project to learn new skills with different tools and materials. Something I had not done before was folding corners to flatten out the fabric. So there's just a close-up. So the corners are actually folded in this time. Normally we upholster, or what I've done in the past is upholster the fabric and strain it down around the bottom of the corner rather than fold in the excess. The excess would be strained down instead in previous projects, but here we've actually learned how to fold in the corners. At the bottom again is calico and staples to finish off the project, and this basically just drops into a dining chair. We also use fabric with a pattern. The idea was to place the fabric appropriately on the chair, so to give it its best look.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!